As you can see from the title of this lesson, this tutorial is about conversions. You should have already watched one conversion video where we looked at some of the information that was listed up here, like how to read the conversion factor sheet that I gave you and the steps to doing simple conversions. But what we have yet to tackle is how do I solve a conversion problem where I can't get from one type of unit to another in just one step. For instance, how do I go from micrometers to gigameters, because there is no one line that contains both of those things. So that's what this lesson is about. We're looking at two-step conversions. So a lot of the things that we used before are up here. And just like in the last video, you'll see me sliding this board here in and out as we need it to look up the numbers for our brackets as we're going through. Little reminder of how conversion problems work. First thing we want to do is take the number given and place it over 1. Second thing, draw the bracket and then place the unit to eliminate on the bottom. Third thing, place the desired unit on top, if possible, in one step, and if not, we'll try it in multiple steps. Step 4, find the correct conversion factor and plug it in. Do the math, multiply if it's on the top, divide if it's on the bottom, and then last but not least, always check your sig figs and your units to make sure that you've done things properly. So let's take a look at some examples where we need to do 2 or more steps to solve ourselves a conversion. For instance, let's say that we were trying to turn 50 micrograms into decagrams. So, if we're going to convert micrograms into decagrams, first thing we'll do is take the number given and place it over 1. That means we'll take 50 micrograms over 1. Step 2, draw your bracket and place the unit to eliminate on the bottom. Here are my brackets. And the unit I'm trying to get rid of is the microgram, so it goes on the bottom. Step 3, place desired unit on top if possible. So I'm going to put decagram on the top. Now, step 4, we look for the correct conversion factor and plug in. So we're looking for one line that possesses micro and deca together. So if we take a look, here is a line that has micro, but it relates to meters, right? Micrometers would be the same as micrograms to grams. Keep looking. Here is a line that has deca, but again, it relates it to a meter. So decagram has 10 grams. So you can see there is no one line that has micrograms or micrometers to decameters. Anytime that happens, that means you're going to have to do more than one step to solve the problem. So, what we then do is we look for something that micrograms relates to. And sure enough, micro somethings, in this case meters, relates to meters, so micrograms relates to grams. So what I can do is I can go from micrograms to grams, and I can plug those numbers in. On my conversion sheet next to micro is 1 times 10 to the 6th. So we put 1 times 10 to the 6th in next to micro. And next to grams on that sheet was a 1. So I got myself from micrograms to grams. Then what I do is I try again. I draw another set of brackets. I put what I'm going to get rid of on the bottom, which is now grams. And I try to find a relation between grams and decagrams. All right, one line that has a relation between grams and decagrams. This time, if we look, sure enough, here is a relationship between decameters and meters, which is the same as decagrams and grams. So we are able to put them together in that second bracket. Right? The number next to deca in our bracket is going to have to be this 1, and the number next to grams will have to be the 10. So we will follow suit over here. The number next to deca is 1, and the number next to grams is 10. So we were able to convert micrograms into decagrams, right, by going through a thing they have in common. It's kind of like I hand a pen to somebody else who hands it to somebody I can't reach in direct fashion. So all that's left now is to do the math, right, and then look at units and sig figs. So in my calculator, what I'm doing is taking 50 divided by 1 second, the button above the 7, and an E pops up. So 50 divided by 1e6. And if I see it in the bottom again, I hit divided by. So you have to get used to this, right? It's going to be 50 divided by 1e6 divided by 10. My calculator says 5 times 10 to the negative 6th when I do. To finish out, we have to watch units and sig figs, so let's do that. Units, micrograms canceled, grams canceled, which I showed as we went through, leaving us with decagrams, which is what we wanted. And then sig figs, 50 with no decimal, only has 1. Again, things in the brackets very rarely hurt us that are exact numbers like this. So 1 sig fig here, none of this hurts us, I get 1. So I have this written correctly as 5 times 10 to the 6th. Had the 50 had a decimal point, right, and we put a decimal in there, the 5 would have to have 2 sig figs, and I would have to write it as 5.0, right? I would have to make it have an additional sig fig. But because we have no decimal, that means we'll leave it as 5 times 10 to the 6th. Let's try another. How about something along the lines of 741 meters, 2 millimeters? So what we'll do is we'll try to follow our system of steps. Right? Step 1, take the number given and place it over 1. 741 meters over 1. Step 2 says draw my brackets and place the unit to eliminate on the bottom. That means I'm going to put meters on the bottom. Step 3, place desired unit on top. That's millimeters, so I'll put that up there and then go and check my conversion sheet to see if there's one line that has meters and millimeters on it. So I start looking. Here is millimeters. Here is meters. So the answer is yes. There is one line that has millimeters to meters on it. That means we are allowed to do this in one step. If we look back to that sheet, sure enough, what you'll see is the number next to milli is 1,000. The number next to meter is 1. Now we just have to do our math, so we'll take 741 times 1,000 divided by 1 divided by 1, which will be 741,000. Then we have to look at sig figs and units. Right? Meters cancels, leaving us with millimeters. And then sig fig wise, 741 has 3 sig figs. Nothing in here hurts us. So we need to make the 741,000 have 3 sig figs. And without a decimal, we can leave this number the way it is. If you had a decimal, you would have to erase it. And there's 741,000 millimeters in 741 meters. Okay, let's try another two-step one. This time, let's take a look at something like 36 microliters and I want to convert that into decaliters. So, try to follow our system. Step 1, take the number given with its unit over 1. Step 2, draw my brackets, put the unit to get rid of on the bottom, which is microliter. Put the unit that you're looking for on top, decaliter. Then go to your worksheet and try to find one line that has micro something and deca something on one line. Here is micro, but it doesn't relate to deca, so we keep looking. Here is deca, but it doesn't relate to micro. So there is no one line that lets us go from micros to decas. That means we can't do this in one step. So what we'll do then is figure out what micros relate to and then see if we can do it in a next step. So if I look back, micros relate to just a normal unit. So microliters would relate to just liters. 1 times 10 to the 6 goes with micro, 1 goes with liter. So we will follow suit over here. We will go to liters. 1 times 10 to the 6 with micro, 1 with liters. Then we try again. I draw my brackets, liters on the bottom. I try decaliters on top. Now I'm looking for a line that has decas with just the normal unit, and that was what was here. Decameters to meters is the same as decaliters to liters. So we can say 1 will go with deca and 10 will go with liters. So we put 1 with our deca and 10 with our liters. Now we seem to have gotten to the unit that we're looking for. Liters goes away, and I have decaliters. And now I just take a look and do the math. Multiply what's on top, divide on the bottom. The top is just 36 times 1 times 1, so you don't have to do that. Right? Divided by 1 second E6 divided by 10. My calc says 3.6 times 10 to the 6th. And the 6 is a negative exponent. And last but not least, we have to look at sig figs and units. Right? Our units canceled, leaving us decaliters, which is what we wanted. 36 has 2 sig figs. Nothing in here hurts us. Nothing in here hurts us. So 3.6 times 10 to the negative 6th needs to have 2 sig figs, and it does, so we are good. Why don't we try something that's a little different, not a two-step, but it uses the other conversion sheet that I gave you in class, right, that lets us switch not from magnitude, but from type, say American to metric. Something like this would look like how far is 100 kilometers in miles? The good news is we attack this problem the same way as the others. Right? I take the unit given and place it over 1. So I will take 100 kilometers over 1. Then, draw my brackets. I put the unit to eliminate on the bottom, which is kilometers. I put the desired unit on top, which is miles. Now, if we slide this board back, you can look and look, but you are never going to find miles on here. You'll find kilometers, it's right here, but nowhere on here does miles appear because this is a metric conversion sheet that you have there. You should have a separate American to metric conversion sheet. it should look like this one. It says SI units and conversion factors, and it has 6 categories: length, volume, energy, pressure, temperature, and mass. And so what you will do here is begin to try to find the relationship between miles and kilometers. And sure enough, if you look on this worksheet, 4 down on Appendix 6, it says 1 kilometer equals 0.62137 miles. So that means we put a 1 with kilometers, and we put 0.62137 with miles. So you found one line that lets you do this in a step. Now we do the math and the sig figs. Units cancel, leaving us with miles. I have to multiply what's on top, 100 times 0.62137. My calc says 62.137 miles. I have to take care of sig figs as well. 100 with a decimal point has 3. 0.62137 has 5. The ones and the thousands and things like that don't hurt us. So 3 here, 5 here means I get 3 in my answer. So does a 6 count? Yes. A 2? Yes. A 1? Yes. Right, there are my 3. Then we have to round. Will the 3 round the 1 up? No. So the correct answer should be 62.1 miles. Let's take a look at one more like that. This time, let's see if we can convert 157 meters into feet. So, still trying to use our steps to converting. Take the number given, put it over 1. 157 meters over 1. Draw my brackets. Unit to eliminate on the bottom. Meters goes there. Desired unit on top is feet. Again, if you look at this conversion table, you won't see feet on there anywhere because that's American. So that means we have to look on our worksheet. Right? Meters and feet are measurements of length. Right? So if we take a look, I see meters relates to yards on this. I see that meters relates to angstroms. I see feet, but it relates to miles. Right? So there's a couple ways you could do this, but none of them have feet and meters together in one line. So we need to turn this into something that we can use. Right? According to this, meters and yards relate together. So let's try taking meters to yards. On this, 1 is with meters. 1.0936 is with yards. And then in a second bracket, we'll try again. This time, I'll put yards on the bottom. I'll put feet on top. Right? If you look on your sheet, you won't see a relationship between feet and yards anywhere, but not every conversion is going to be listed. This is something that I would hope you have some familiarity with from previous life experiences. Right? Things like feet to yards, things like inches and a foot. Right? I shouldn't give you a piece of paper that lists that there's 12 inches in a foot. We're all pretty familiar with that. Just like that, most people are pretty familiar with a relationship that has 1 yard being equal to 3 feet. So sometimes lean on what you know to do conversions. Last but not least, we have to do our math and take a look at our units. Right? Meters cancels, yards cancels, leaving us feet. And then we do the math. 157 times 1.0936 times 3, all divided by 1s. My calculator says 515.0856 feet. Taking a look at sig figs, 157 has 3, 1.0936 has 5, 3111, those are exact numbers, they do not hurt you. So I have 3 here and 5 here, that means I get 3 in my answer. So 5 counts, 1 counts, 5 counts. There are my 3. Will a 0 round a 5 up? It will not. So you get 515 feet. One last example I want to do is to show you how we can take units that are what we call fractioned, top and bottom, and solve those problems where we're not changing just one, but both types. What I mean by that is this. If I were to look at a problem, and it would say something like, I am traveling 60 miles per hour, and I want to know what is that in feet per second. We've yet to look at a problem where we have an answer that isn't just 1 unit, it's 2, and that we're starting with something like miles per hour. The first thing I want you to realize is it doesn't look like there's 2 units here, right? But anything per something always means per one of it. So what I'm really having here is 60 miles per hour. So we have 2 tasks at hand. If you look at the units of your answer, I want to change feet on the top, and I want seconds on the bottom. Well, right now, I have miles on top, and I have hours on the bottom. So I need to change both of those. So, the first thing I'll do is, it doesn't matter which, is I'll decide, do I want to change the top or the bottom? Let's go ahead and change the top. If I'm going to change the top, I need miles to cancel, which means it's going to go here like it always does. And I want to put feet up there. So I'll try miles and feet. Then I'll go to my worksheet and I'll look for a relationship. On my worksheet, there is a line that says 1 mile is 5,280 feet. So I got miles to go away. Now I have feet on the top, which is what I want. I don't want hours on the bottom, I want seconds. So I am now going to have to try to get rid of hours on the bottom and get seconds there. Here's where things get a little different. If hours is on the bottom, I need to put hours on the top to get it to cancel, because we always cancel opposite. So if I want to get rid of hours, I have to put it up here. Then I will put seconds on the bottom. And if you take a look at our time conversions, right, you'll see that there is nothing like hours to seconds there. And some of you may realize what that is, right? But I think most people are familiar with not hours to second, but hours to minutes. And 1 hour has 60 minutes. So we got hours out of the way, but now we have minutes on the bottom. We still want seconds there, so we try again. We'll put minutes on top, seconds on the bottom, and most people know that 1 minute has 60 seconds. So if you look, feet are the only thing that doesn't cancel on the top, and seconds is the only thing that doesn't cancel on the bottom, so I have feet per second. Now we do our math. I take 60 times 5,280 divided by 60 divided by 60. My calculator says 88 feet per second. And then last but not least, I check my sig figs. Right? In my problem, we'll have 60 with a decimal point here. We'll put that in. right? Which means 60 has 2 sig figs, 5,000, 280 has 3, 60, and 60. They don't hurt us, they're exact conversions. Right? So 2 here, 3 here means 2 in my answer. 88 feet per second is good. One last example to wrap things up. Could be something in word problem fashion. Right? So I always like to throw one in here so you're comfortable with seeing it. So something like this. Mr. V runs the 100 meter dash in 10.94 seconds. How fast is this in miles per hour? Okay, so a lot of people don't like word problems, so I wanted to look at one and show you how we turn this phrasing into what we do with our number and our equal sign. So the first thing you want to do is list what you know. And it looks to me like, in the question, what we know is that the 100 meter dash gets run in 10.94 seconds. So if I can run 100, which is an exact number, meters in 10.94 seconds, that is what I know. And the question is, what is that in miles per hour? So it shapes up to be a problem just like this. Now, the tricky thing is you have to decide, how do I want to write this? Meters over seconds or seconds over meters? Because it wasn't given to me. Take a look at the units of your answer. Miles is on top, and you have to decide, what does miles relate more to? Meters and seconds, and hours on the bottom relates to meters or seconds more. Well, sure enough, hours is time, seconds is time, so we'll put time on the bottom. Miles is distance, meters is distance, so we'll put those on top. So if we have 100 decimal meters per 10.94 seconds, two things have to occur. I need to change meters to miles and seconds to hours. Well, meters to miles we'll try first. Meters on the bottom, miles on top. And if you take a look on your sheet, right, we have a relationship between miles and kilometers and miles and feet, but we don't have anything with meters to miles. Right? So what we will do is let's go meters to kilometers first, where we know 1,000 meters is 1 kilometer. Now we try again. We'll put kilometers on the bottom and miles on top, and we do have a conversion for this. In fact, we have two, right? Last time I did the 0.627 one, so this time we'll say 1 mile is 1.6093 kilometers. You could also have said 1 kilometer is 0.6213 miles. That would be fine also. So kilometers cancels. Now I have miles on top. Now we need to change seconds to hours. If I want seconds to cancel, it needs to go on top. And last time we did 60 and then 60. Well, a faster way is, if you do understand the relationship between seconds and hours, is that 1 hour has 60 times 60 seconds, which is 3,600 seconds. So seconds cancels, and now we have miles per hour, and we have to do our math. So we'll take 100, don't forget to divide this one here at the beginning, divided by 10.94, divided by 1,000, divided by 1.6093, times 3,600. And you will find out that your calculator says 20.44787. And now let's look at sig figs. 100 with a decimal has 3, 10.94 has 4. This doesn't hurt, this doesn't hurt, this doesn't hurt, this has 5, this doesn't hurt, this doesn't hurt. So I get 3, so 2204. or my 3. A 4 won't round a 4 up, so it's 20.4 miles per hour. So, you notice the system isn't too much different whenever we do these ones that have some multiple steps to them. You just have to understand, what am I trying to cancel, what am I trying to find, and then you can only place in conversions that you are certain that you have a relationship between that is accurate to get those changed. If you're having any trouble, please stop in for help, and we'll get you sorted out.